Welcome to this episode of Vaartaalaap. Pleasure to see you live after so many years. Great to see you. How are you doing?
Doing fine, thank you. Same here. Great to see you and see your new venture, and good to share my perspective on the topic that you are most interested in.
Sure. So, giving some background about you to our viewers, Ben, you are a management consulting professional with over 28 years of work experience, I believe now, and you have been associated with IBM for more than 25 plus years, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been with IBM for over 20 years now, and always in its global business service division, as commonly known as IBM Consulting. So in the past, the work mostly related to ERP or business process and enterprise applications. Now this has been expanded further to do other kind of work in terms of digital transformation as well as mobile business.
Okay, and you are also a Carnegie Mellon alumnus, an illustrious university. So our viewers would be very interested in knowing about that as well.
So still young. So
okay, since you are in the Silicon Valley, you have seen the Silicon Valley of US as well, and you are there where a lot of companies are doing digital transformation. And some of it is coming because of newer technologies like AI, automation. Machine learning is not something new, but it has become very popular of late. How do you see these are impacting the jobs in the developed world, especially in US or Canada? What do you see?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, as we know with AI or other advanced technology in the sense of 5G, blockchain, and so on, they all impact our life in a way. I think it's bringing both excitement, wonderment, but also fear. The wonder comes from the aspect that with the automation and the more efficiency that the tasks have been carried and business work can be done much faster pace compared to before. The fear is always from the aspect that the robotics will take over our jobs. And for example, right, in the past, require some HR professional to review the resumes, to get a feel, to vet candidates. Nowadays, always there are certain AI component there to do the initial vetting, and then reduce the number of, the interaction between the human and applicants from the angle. And so I think that fear is valid. And but as a broader sense, right? So with this new technologies, then all the technologists, engineers, and all the related to so-called experience specialists will be more needed to maintain this AI-based systems and to enable or empower the automation, blockchain, 5G, and so on. So there will be a lot of demand from those areas in terms of the profession. And so I think for the regular Joes in the professional domain, they have to somewhat retool themselves to adjust to this new, technology heavy environment. So they need to have certain understanding and the skill set related to technology, even though they don't necessarily need the specialists like engineers, coders, and so on, but they do understand how that works in terms of the whole domain.
Well, you mentioned robotics as well as the need for reskilling. I'll come to that. But prior to it, since you have been for a very long time with IBM, how is IBM responding to it in terms of its workforce? Are you being made to reskill, or there are things wherein there has been retrenchment even in US or with IBM offices in India when people have not been able to reskill themselves up? What are the clients asking?
Right. As mentioned earlier, right? So in the past, when we, I guess, should I put it the other way? So the traditional IBM GBS consulting's bread and butter business is in technology and process in the way of a more like an enterprise application, such as ERP, right? SAP, Oracle, and so on. And those businesses have become fairly mature. So there's still growth, but it's not as great as before in terms of pace. A lot of clients have emphasized in the digital transformation. In the area of Watson, you heard of IBM proponents in terms of to resolve all the AI and automation. So definitely there's a shift on both the client need and also IBM offering. So IBM has started initiative so-called building the cognitive enterprise, and to counter this demand that our customer asking for. So really, I think there are three key components, and within the so-called cognitive enterprise, from IBM point of view, one is that to leverage the data, right? As we know that nowadays with social media, automation, everything else, that the quantity of data has become huge. Yeah. So IBM has further developed our capabilities to support the customer to leverage data as a new currency, to reinvent its competitive position, and also create a new market opportunities for our customer. So that's the data driven. And then the other part, I think I mentioned, right, is based on the foundation of ERP and enterprise applications relate to business processes, right? So we have offering surrounding so-called intelligent workflows to help the customer to handle both the end-to-end aspect and also front-to-back aspect of the business to enable differentiating outcome for the customer. So the third element, I think, is more on the experience aspect. And nowadays, I think both within the IT domain and also business domain, the experience has been emphasized. In the past, it always talk about, okay, let the process work through, right? But now it's more of a customer-centric. It's more of an employee-centric. It's more about the experience. So what we can do to enable the experience for the customer, for the employee, and for the partners throughout the business venture, that's very valuable. So as mentioned, right, the three key components is both reflecting the client need and also in reflecting the IBM's sort of business offering, data, intelligent workflow, and experience.
Yeah, you mentioned IBM Watson, and I remember using IBM Watson briefly with one of my NPS data while working at Adidas, and it gave me out a sort of analytics just on the fly, just based upon basic raw data. I didn't have to apply anything. So it had cut down an intermediary in between, somebody who would process the data, somebody who would analyze the data and build out statistics or reports out of it. So all those three intermediaries were immediately cut out, and a system was as intelligent as IBM Watson was, gave me what I was looking for. So there are dangerous as well as interesting trends, and as you rightly said, there is the reskilling pieces also involved in that. So coming to the reskilling part, for someone like you with so much of experience, and we have moved into this OKR world wherein objectives and key results coming from Intel and Google is being applied across corporations. Has something like that also been done at your level in IBM, wherein there are OKRs that are being pushed from top down and consultants being asked to skill up personally on different technologies as well?
Well, I think the retooling need is for everyone, right? It's not regardless of position, but at a different level, you may have a different level of needs. So, for example, you are at the entry level, so you do need to have more hands-on knowledge regarding any particular tool or any particular, system and so on. So at the leadership level and the management level, we do need more get involved at the broader sense that to know what it's about and to connect the dots, as mentioned right earlier, is we have data, we have intelligent workflow, we have experience. So you do need to know what all those mean to play in the kind of enterprise level. However, I don't necessarily need to know one particular component, okay, how to code for that particular piece in order to extract data to simulate that and how to do that natural language in order to make Watson work. I do need to understand at the end-to-end level how that works, but not necessarily for any particular component to enable that. That will be subject to up to technologists, engineers, and programmers, so on.
Okay, so no OKR-based system as yet at IBM, something which Google is thriving on, as well as a lot more companies have incorporated them as part of their. Some have done it as part of appraisal process. Some are doing it just for goal setting purposes.
No KPI per se. I think that everybody has educational credits they must do each year, but not necessarily from any particular topic. So obviously, for your own profession, let's for example, if you're the product manager domain, right, you do need to have a certain product management aspect. But I mean, I'm sure that if you're a Watson specialist, there will be some requirement related to a Watson credit. So I think that's all understandable. But there's no hard quota that you have to have 5 credits in AI, 2 credits in data automation, and so on.
Okay, so one last question. Considering the experience and what you see, how do you forecast things will change in next 10 years? What kind of jobs will people aspire for if it's mostly technology driven? What do you see?
So I think back to the earlier point related to connect enterprise, right? There are multiple domains and multiple aspects. I mean, we should always keep those keywords, right? We know that AI is popular, so so I think that with AI become more commonplace in both business and consumers' life, then all the AI related job will become more on demand. And for example, I mean, someone who understands that how the knowledge of machine learning, language, natural language processing, and so on become more valuable. So related to this, right, I do think that there will be a greater demand for AI related either architect or the AI modeler. I mean, in the sense that I understand how system machine works and how to translate that into the system behavior, and all the AI related testing, right? I mean, so really, I mean, AI architect, programming, business analyst, I mean, they're all becoming more on demand. And also, right, we relate to a current technology that most enterprise are in the cloud initiative. So a lot of systems built on AI, built on the cloud instead of on their traditional way of host on their own. So all the AI architects, right, who understand the company's cloud strategy and how to plan all that, and all the AI elements will be much more needed for the future enterprise. And also I mentioned the data aspect, right? Is that, I mean, nowadays, I mean, there are tremendous amount of data have been available. So how business can take advantage of that will be a key differentiator for the company. So all the data specialists, either analysts or scientists or engineering, whatever related to the data, will become more important for the company to process, I mean, really all the way from very beginning, to gather, to store, to process, and to make the intelligence on top of that become a much more important. And also is that, I mean, we know with data, a lot of data loss situation, I mean, at the enterprise level, right? So all, I mean, the data can be very sensitive, right? So all the related to the data security will be very important. So we definitely need to have that component here as well. And so this brings another sort of area of high demand in the technology or IT, and even broader from the business aspect is security specialist, right? So security is not only in the traditional way of system security, but also data security, right? How to protect data, employee data, partner data. So I think that's also very important and for security. And with all it, right? I mean, we mentioned, I mean, regardless of AI, cloud, all the traditional enterprise applications, and we need developers. So both for the web aspect, mobile aspect, and also the traditional the mainframe. I mean, I think that all those different domains have a different kind of programming needs. That's why the developer will be always on demand. That's why in college applications nowadays that computer science becomes the most popular major, and obviously it's become a most competitive major to get into. So I think at a high level, those 5 areas probably what I will categorize will be most on demand: AI, cloud, data, development, and security.
But the roles, the traditional roles, project manager, program manager, managing consultant, maybe even product managers, do you see they will thrive in next 10 years? And there is more emphasis not only about technology, it's also about design skills, people having experience in psychology. That's becoming much more important because that's something which people say cannot be automated easily. The emotional quotient aspect of robotics, so that man-machine integration with a human touch is still farther away. So some traditional roles will get reduced, but there is also an emphasis on design, psychology. Do you see something like that happening in the business world or in technology world?
Well, I think the role you mentioned, right, it will be still required. I mean, I think that, I mean, that's where we need to somewhat discount the fear factor coming from the automation. AI will take away all the jobs, right? If you look at the industrial stage where only job that was truly take away is the elevator operator, right? Everything else still remain. It just have been rebadged or retooled to a certain extent. So similarly, I think with all the other jobs, right, there are always human components with everything. And when it comes to business, when it comes to life, to work, everything. So I think with the job you mentioned with the potential, that's at least downgraded in a way of the need. And I think people should look at the other aspect, right? We always need a human to make innovation. I mean, I don't think with automation, with AI, that the innovation comes with the machine. I think that's there's always a human aspect for innovation. I mean, and the creativities and complex design process and the teamwork. I mean, how people work with each other. There are always those human aspects. And also, I think the other keyword that's very commonly mentioned nowadays is empathy, right? I mean, empathy, EMPATHY, right? Is that that's important. That's always cannot be repeated or represented by the machine. So I think from that angle, there will be always human aspect. And also is that as human, we always have the initiative that the machine may not have that. I mean, machine need to be trained to do what, but the initiative aspect, the human aspect is not something that can be taken away. So I think with all those that we just need to learn about the new technology and how that can empower our life, our work, our business, but not be in fear that they will take away our job.
Surely, I agree with you, but there is enough of science fiction where people are trying to innovate and reduce the human effort in terms of automation. But where this will end, I think nobody can clearly forecast. Maybe in next 20, 25 years, we'll see what sort of robotics with a human touch comes into picture. But till then, yes, you're right.
Yep.
We need to keep on reskilling ourselves, learning technology on the way, and that's how things will progress. So it was a fine conversation with you, Beng. Pleasure to have you, and I hope in future do, I can come back to you about different topics other than automation and AI. But our viewers will certainly love your feedback and inputs, surely. Thank you. Thanks for your time, and I wish you a great day.
Yeah, good talk to you. Keep in touch.